I will do better. I will do better.
Okay, good evening, guys. Who wishes they were on that boat, by the way? Give me a little wave. I was teasing you all with that. Maybe that is what is to come with our very next retreat, whenever that will be, God willing. It will be very, very soon. So thank you so much for jumping on this call. We have got Mr. Lifestyle himself, industry legend, the $100 million man. Mr. Jeffrey Roberti, a great friend of mine and an inspiration, someone I've looked up to for many, many years, since I first saw him speak on stage in Limerick in Ireland back in 2011, I think it was. Jeff didn't know me at all then, but I certainly knew him. I'd been stalking him on YouTube and you name it, I've been reading about him, and we've just got to give it up massively for Jeff and say a massive thank you, first of all, for paving the way for all us guys to come in and follow the path that he's created for us. And you know what, not just in the Juice Plus company, but in the whole industry. He's world renowned and he's a world sought after speaker. So we are so blessed to have him on tonight's call. So I'm going to spotlight Jeff, and I've got some questions for him. So first of all, Jeff, how are you, my friend?
Good, good. Can you hear me, John?
Yeah, perfect. And the sunset looks beautiful.
Yeah, that was the sunset last night here in Florida.
I love it. And you've worked out how to save it and put it as your screensaver. Incredible.
Yeah, I'm getting high tech now.
Yeah, high tech. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So I don't want to take up too much of your precious time, Jeff. So we want to kick it off. I've got a couple of questions for you. This is a non-corporate call, so we're just going to roll with it. I've looked through the 1,000 participants. There's no corporate staff on here, so we can have a bit of fun, and we can maybe say a few extra things if we want to. But the first question I wanted to ask you really was, what was life like for you before Juice Plus? Who was the Jeff Roberti before Juice Plus?
Well, John, you've heard my story. I mean, I came from some very, very humble beginnings. You know, I didn't come from a wealthy family. I didn't have a higher education, didn't have any money or experience. But if you ever just meet somebody that's hungry, and I would say that's the #1 success ingredient. If you're taking notes tonight, the #1 success ingredient that I look for in a person is finding somebody that's hungry, that has the want to. If we could bottle up Juice Plus and you could take a capsule and it would increase your want to, your desire, your willingness to work, your hunger, I'd tell you to liquidate all your assets and buy as much as your money could buy, because that's where it really starts. You know, you've got to have that hunger. You got to have that desire, that willingness, you know, willingness to work and teachable. You know, one of the things, John, when I got involved is I realized that this was worth my time. And what does that mean, worth your time? If you're willing to pay the price, if you're willing to go to work and put in that extra 10% effort and say no to some of the things that really aren't that important in life. I gave up some of the partying and being out at the beach with my friends so I could be in the position to say yes to the things that are truly important, you know, in life. It was, you know, I just had that belief. I had that desire, that willingness, and just willing to pay the price. You know, there is a price you got to pay. But I saw something, John, that if I went to work, I could compress an entire lifetime of work into a 3 to 5 year plan. And I started in my 20s, like so many people on this call. It's 30 plus years later and the residual income and the lifestyle is incredible. But, nobody knows what it was like back in the beginning, putting in those long hours, getting up early, staying up late, putting in that extra effort. Look, guys, there's no free lunch here. No one can lift your weights for you. There is a price you got to pay, but is it worth your time? Absolutely yes. So I would say that number one success ingredient in somebody you're looking for is somebody that's hungry. They got the want to, they got the desire, they're willing to work.
Brilliant, Jeff. And I think as well, just touch on the difference between then and now. I mean, we're on this Zoom call, we got 1,000 people on. You told me a story about, ringing Europe and things like that. How was the company back then in the old days without even the auto ship, right?
Yeah, well, look, back then, John, concepts are constant. The basics, the fundamentals will never change. The concepts of onboarding customers, onboarding new team members and partners, building relationships, building for events, those concepts, the basics and the fundamentals will never change, but the techniques can vary. Today, you have this thing called social media, which is such a powerful tool. Back when I started, back in the late 80s, we had a rotary dial phone that was attached to the wall. And if you had a long distance call, you'd be like, it's long distance, get in here, because it costs money to call somebody. Today, it's free. The phone knows no distance. There's no price you got to pay. So the technology today, you can go quicker, faster, and better with the business today than you ever could back then. But, all excuses are equal. All distractions are equal. I had a job to do, and I stepped up and made it happen, regardless of the times back then.
So that's what I want to touch on first, really. We have the big momentum. It's the holy grail of our business, and when you've got it, you really got to grow it. And we have it right now in the UK. There's so many people that are flying through promotions. So can we touch on a little bit about before you got momentum, what were you doing? And then what happened when you got momentum to grow it even bigger, like some of these guys want to do right now?
Great question, John. Great question. Momentum is kind of like going to the gym. You think about when you go to the gym and you start working out, you start to condition your body, right? Well, how do you establish momentum in our business, with our product, whether it's in the gym and anything in life? It's called consistency, doing it over and over again. You can't take Juice Plus one day and then miss it the rest of the week and expect to have momentum. So the way you establish momentum, if we take the gym as an example, lifting those weights, the way you establish momentum is consistency. The way you sustain your momentum is through consistency. And then to advance that momentum, it happens automatically if you're doing the basics, the fundamentals over and over again. Consistency of effort, work habits, and attitude. And once you establish momentum, you don't want to let it down. You want to keep your foot on the gas. And here's what I found, John. The results I'm having this week is off of what I did last week. The results this month is off of what I did last month. Or last quarter, this quarter is off of what I did last quarter. So it's kind of funny how momentum works. And there's nothing like, John, being fully engaged. Let's say I wanted to learn how to play tennis. If I went out and hit tennis balls once a week or once a month, am I going to establish momentum versus if I did it consistently every day and put in the long hours and the consistency of it? How you do anything is how you do everything in life. So you want to be fully engaged, fully immersed. I'll never forget the late, great Jim Rohn said to me, he said, Jeff, a few simple disciplines done consistently over and over again, a few simple disciplines done consistently over and over again equals multiple rewards. You don't have to do 1,000 things well, Jeff. You have to do a handful of things 1,000 times over and over again. You're rewarded in public for what you do in private. And that is called, you got to pay the price. And yet that momentum is something that once you establish it, you got it going, it's exciting, it's fun, you're fully engaged, you're fully immersed. I mean, it's cracking, it's popping. But the mistake is people let that momentum down. And right now you guys are in a momentum stage and you want to keep your foot on the gas. Don't let your momentum down.
Perfect. That moves on to my next question about some pitfalls to avoid. I mean, I remember being over in Florida and having a few drinks with you, and you were telling me about the early days, and something really resonated with me. You said, I wanted to make as much as I could, as fast as I could, as much as I could, as fast as I could. And you said, John, I lived below my means. I had the little beach hut over there. And, you know, I love that story. You stayed humble, but you stayed hungry. Can you touch on maybe some lessons of people that got distracted and looked elsewhere, thinking the grass is greener?
Yeah. Well, you look, some of the pitfalls is, number one, a lot of people sometimes think the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, but listen, it still has to be mowed. Why wouldn't you hang your hat with a 50-year-old company, solid, stable, and lasting, a world-class product that everyone wants, everyone needs, and no one has? I mean, you have found a home here. If you've been searching in life, I mean, there's no better place to be. You got the best of both worlds here. So some of the people that have thought the grass was greener and they wanted to go jump into something else, all of them have regretted it. They're like, Jeff, there's some of them are coming back now, begging me to come back into Juice Plus. But here's some of the pitfalls to avoid. You start making some money, you start having some success. You got to be careful not to get out there and start extending yourself too much. And, I'll never forget Jim Rohn. I'll quote Jim again. You're not financially independent when you can live comfortably off of your income, but when you can live comfortably off of the income of your personal assets. You want to put away some money. Keep your foot on the gas. Keep building this thing. John, the first 10 years of my business, all I did was work. I invested back into my business. I didn't go on vacation. I didn't go on holidays. I didn't buy the big house. I didn't buy all the cars. I just kept pouring it on, and I put a 5-year effort here in North America. Then I went a 5-year effort over in Europe, and I was making a 6-figure weekly income, living in a little rented apartment. And I didn't go out and buy anything and get distracted. I just stayed focused. I had laser focus. And yeah, I didn't believe at first that this thing was going to last, because most multi-level network marketing companies don't last, right? I mean, look at the statistics. And then all of a sudden, here it is, 30 some years later, 3 decades later. Yeah, my lifestyle is great today, and I'm enjoying. I'm in a different season of life. But, one of the things I'll stress to you, John, is this. You got to be careful not to fall into the management mode, the comfort zone. You start to get some team, and all of a sudden, now you think you don't have to go out there and onboard customers or onboard new partners and just manage your team. That's the easy part. You want to keep staying where you stretch yourself and get into uncharted waters and keep expanding your business and keep building new front lines. Listen, go back and do what you did in the beginning that got you to marketing director. Build 5 new front lines. Go marketing director all over again. That's where the fun, the excitement, the juice is building that new freshman class. And, the other thing is personal development. Feed your mind, condition your body, connect spiritually. But when I say personal development, I'll never forget Jim Rohn. Again, I'll quote him. He said to me, Jeff, you're going to have a lot of growth as that broke waiter climbing that valley, climbing that mountain. He said, but the biggest challenge you're going to have in life is when you get to the top and you have success, be careful not to sit at the table of success too long, because bad habits can start to creep in. Listen, when you're green, you grow. When you're right, you rot. You got to be very careful who you become in pursuit of what you want. And I'll never forget him telling me, he says, Jeff, growth equals happiness. You're the happiest in life when you're growing, when there's progress, to keep growing when you're on top. Tony Robbins, I'll quote Tony. He has a thing called CANI, can I. constant and never-ending improvement. If you take the wheel of life, John, your spiritual mastery, your physical mastery, your relationship mastery, your emotional mastery, your financial mastery, all areas of your life, constant and never-ending improvement. So you want to keep growing. You're the happiest in life when there's growth. So the pitfalls to avoid is, in the beginning, live below your means, invest back into your business, keep your foot on the gas, don't let your momentum down. Keep staying in the building mode, the production stage. Don't get into that management mode, that comfort zone. And listen, would you follow you? Would you follow you? Your daily method of operation, your work habits, your attitude, your discipline. Are you the type of person that success breeds success? One of the things people used to say to me back in the beginning, especially, like, Jeff, that's half as good as you make it sound, I'm in. They watch the feet, not the lips. Distributors do what you do, not what you tell them to do. So the pitfall to avoid is getting comfortable, getting in the management mode, and not going out there and producing. Staying in that production stage, and that's where the fun is. That's where the juice is. That's where the excitement is. Go find somebody that's got a fresh, warm market and a good, positive attitude. You know what I found? I can't raise a dead horse, right? It's easier to give birth than raise the dead. If somebody doesn't see it and want it, I still love them whether they do a little or a lot, but I want somebody that's hungry. I'm looking for somebody that sees this, that's got that desire and that willingness. Next question.
I love it. I love it.
You're getting me excited, John.
I actually forgot that I was hosting the call. I was just listening in. I was like, this is gold dust. So can we just touch on your DMO back in the day and when you're in total massive action mode, what was your DMO like? And what would your advice be for DMO to these guys on the call?
Well, great question again. DMO, your daily method of operation. I've been teaching this for over 30 years. Well, your DMO is, number one, what is your job description? What do you get paid for? The company manufactures, they ship, they collect, they account. We know what the company's job is. What do you and I get paid for, John, in this business? No matter what your rank is, no matter what your title is, what is your job description? What do you get paid for? That's telling the story. You get paid for talking to people. This product, this opportunity is sold by word of mouth. One satisfied customer to another. Listen, if the pilot doesn't fly the plane, they can't get paid. If the barber doesn't cut the hair, they can't get paid. If we don't talk to people, if we don't tell the story, share your product, share your opportunity, build relationships, you can't get paid. So no matter what your rank is, no matter what your title is, you get paid for talking to people. You talk to some people, you make some money. You talk to lots of people, you got an opportunity to become rich. Bottom line.
Brilliant. And I remember you telling me about events that you were doing and calls that you were doing. Like back in the day, you said something like, when America's asleep, I know that Europe is awake. So you were just working throughout the day. And we were the same with our business in the UK. We're literally doing events every night of the week. Now we do it on Zoom call, but just touch on the power of events and the power of these calls that you used to do, these one-to-ones.
Yeah, look, you can literally today build your business 24 hours a day, John. I used to work the time zones. I'm in Florida on Eastern time, and then when it got to a certain hour at night, then I go to Central, then I go to Mountain, then I go to Pacific out in California, then I go to Hawaii, and then you can go, you guys are 6 hours ahead of me over in Europe. Then I can, it could be the middle of the night, you're 6 hours ahead, it's first thing in the morning over there. You got Australia. You literally could work 24 hours a day. We used to be called NSA before we changed our name to Juice Plus. And I used to tell people NSA stood for Never Sleep Again. It also stood for numerous savings accounts. You got an opportunity, to build your business 24 hours a day today. And now with Zoom calls and with social media and with technology, it's a dream. Look at what's going on in the world today, John. It's called the gig economy. You look at this ultimate gig economy and where people are saying they want fun, freedom, and flexibility. Stay at home, build a business, market a world-class product that, Juice Plus, I mean, we've got something that is the ultimate gig economy right here. If people are searching, we meet two needs, John, at a very high level. People are looking today more than ever to take self-responsibility for their health. Yes or no? Absolutely. People are looking for a way to take self-responsibility for their health. And number two, people are looking for a way to take self-responsibility for their wealth. And a lot of people today, the floodgates are open. I mean, the recruiting pool of people out there today is wide and it's deep. People are saying yes to our product, yes to our opportunity in record numbers. I'm telling you, John, every day of work you miss today, a year from now, you might have to work 5 days to equal one of these days. Talk about sense of urgency, fear of loss, the timing. I mean, it's all hands on deck right now, guys. It's harvest time. I mean, the fish are jumping in the boat. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. Don't sleep. I hope you get off this call tonight. You can't sleep. And you keep dialing that phone and working all 24 hours because it's an exciting time to be involved in our business. I mean, it is an opportunity of a lifetime.
Simon said today to me that this last month, somebody joined as a customer every second. Every second we got a new customer, every single second. So I just want to touch on client retention because it's one thing getting these people to take the product. How important is looking after your customers, creating raving fans?
Another great question, John. Retention equals your pension, bottom line. You gotta, it's one thing to have the faucet on in the bathtub, but if you got the faucet on and there's no plug and there's no drain and it's going out as fast as you're putting them on, that's not how you build a business. You want to build your business on rock, not sand. You want to build it on a solid foundation. Now, how do you build your business on rock, not sand? How do you build it on a solid foundation? Well, step one is when I'm talking to somebody, they've got to live the mission themselves. I mean, there's no step two unless there's step one. You've got to live the mission. You've got to become your own first preferred customer. You've got to believe before you can go out there and start sharing this and come from the heart, not from the head, right? You've got to become a product of the product. It's not what you say, it's how you feel about what you say. People communicate more with feelings than they do words. So you want to have that emotional sincerity when you're talking to someone. There's no selling, it's sharing. It's sharing something that you truly are passionate about and believe in yourself. And so you don't want to get the cart before the horse. Don't sign people up and bring them on for the opportunity and not get them on the product. They've got to live the mission. If you're going to build it on rock, they've got to have that belief. And then I've always retailed to recruit. My best distributors, my best partners, my best team members are people that are raving fan customers. They love the product. And listen, the fortune is in the follow-up. You just can't put them on and forget about them. You got to follow up. The value of a customer. I've got customers, 28 years later still on Juice Plus. And I recruit them. That retention and building those long-term relationships equals long-term success. Here's how it works, John. First box, you got a sale. Second box, you got a customer. You got to make sure that the fortune is in that follow-up. But the fortune also is in the duplication. So when you recruit them and they become part of our culture, and there's something exciting about all of a sudden they got some team under them, and now they're starting to have some success, that increases your retention. We have found over here in the United States, I've got all these moms on a mission, parents with a purpose. They got their kids eating vegetables. They got the tower on the patio, and the mom's got the kids eating vegetables now, excited about it. They're on the children's health study. So that increases retention. So the key to this thing, guys, is retention equals your pension. You got to make sure that you follow up with people. Don't just put them on as a customer and forget about them and go get somebody else. They're going out the faucet. They're going out the bottom of the tub as quick as you got the faucet coming in. You got to build it on a solid foundation, build it on rock. And so slow down to speed up. Make sure that you love on people and you understand the value of that preferred customer and retailing to recruit.
And finally, on that one, Jeff, the CapXual business. I mean, we made a mistake back in 2013, 2014. We were based mainly on Complete. And we came up with the line, if you've got a business built on shakes, you've got a shaky business. So, you touch on the solid rock CapXual business. And that's what I think 80% of the US market is CapXual based. So just touch on the transition to capsules.
Yeah, I mean, look, we all know that the capsules, the core four, that's where your stability is you've got people on an auto ship month after month, year after year, eating and using the capsules. Yeah, I love the Complete. I love the gummies. I love the Tower Garden. I love all our other products, but that's where your stability is. You got to build those raving fan relationships, those raving fan customers, and you eventually, you may start them somewhere else, but you certainly want to get them on the capsules. That's the glue. If you take a wheel, that's the hub of the wheel. You got spokes with Complete and gummies and Tower Gardens, but the real hub of that wheel is the capsules. That's where your continuity program is. That's where you build something solid, stable, and lasting, is where they're eating and using those capsules month after month, year after year.
Love it. I mean, we've been going for 25 minutes, absolute fire, sweat's pouring out of me. I'm that excited. So thank you so much. I want to change the direction a little bit because it's 100% all worth it. And you're a shining example of that, living the lifestyle dream that everybody wants. So I've got a question about now what this business has allowed you to do, some of the fun purchases that you've made over the years, some of the fun trips, and maybe you can give us your top 5 things.
Well, I mean, John, where do you want me to start? I mean, we could do an extra call. Do you want to book that now? I mean, it's a dream. I mean, there literally is a dream. I mean, we're not supposed to get into income claims or lifestyle claims and all of this, but I mean, it's unbelievable. It started off from such humble beginnings. And I mean, I was looking to just pay my bills. I was struggling to pay my bills in life, my promises in life, to myself, to my friends, to my family. I was just looking for some part-time magic. And then all of a sudden, after putting in some effort, after X amount of years, all of a sudden this residual income started to build up, and I couldn't believe it. And then you see the checks and you see your check growing. And as your check grows, it's a measuring stick. As that check starts to grow, the more impact you have, the more lives you've touched directly or indirectly with your product and your opportunity. So, I mean, I always joke, we can have a little fun here if you'd like, but I always tell people, which part do you not get? The big money or the free time? Which part do you not get here? The fruit and vegetables or the capsule? I mean, help me out here. I remember when you were down here and you and Luke were standing in the driveway at Aquadesia, a $20 million property that I bought. And, I pull up in a Rolls Royce and I buzz down the power window and I said, John, which part do you not get? The big money or the free time? And buzz back up the power window. I mean, we can have some fun here. We joke about, why can you have this type of lifestyle? Because you can. But you know what, John? I'm a giver. I'm a love bug. I love giving. The secret to living is giving. Yeah, I've got a great house. I got a great lifestyle and this quality of life today. But, the thing I'm most proud of is the giving part, and that's what I'd like to talk about.
Go for it. So, can you touch on some of the things that you've been able to do? I know a few of the stories from conventions and stuff like that, but a lot of the guys don't know the story with the car and things like that. So if you don't mind going into that one.
Yeah. Well, my original why, John, in the very beginning, and a lot of you have heard the story, but I'll share it. I didn't grow up in a wealthy family, and oldest of three boys. My dad died at an early age, which, I gave that an empowering meaning and a compelling future. It's not what happens in life, it's what you do with what happens in life. It's not the event, it's the meaning you give it. And that propelled me to really just to go out there and be the best version of me possible. And I'll never forget, John, when I was a kid sitting in the back seat of my mom's car, and it wasn't the nicest car, but she was a proud woman and she acted like it didn't bother her. But people talk, you know how they make their comments or make fun of you. And I'll never forget, I sat in the back seat of that car, John, and I said to myself, if someday in life, if I could, I would, I'd like to help my mother and father. If I could, I would, I'd like to help my grandparents. If I could, I would, I'd like to be able to do this for my favorite charity. And probably the best story I could share is back then, the first car I bought wasn't for me, guys. It was for my mom. My why back then is I wanted to be able to buy my mom the car of her dreams. And after a few years of hard work and pouring it back into the business and just staying focused and fully engaged and fully immersed, I was in the position to buy my mom the car of her dreams. And without her knowing it, I was able to go out there and pay cash for this car. Now, a couple things. One thing, I found out that my mom had very good taste in cars. So it was an expensive car, but I was in the position to do it. And on Christmas morning, guys, Christmas morning, I want you to visualize this. She lives up in the mountains. I've got the car sitting outside her home, a big red bow on the hood. The morning dew's on the car. You know how you got that dew and the sun's coming up at sunrise and it's shining on the car. And on Christmas morning, I have my mom come to the door. She sees the car. I hand her the keys. I tell her how much I love her. And I see these tears of joy coming down my mother's face. I thought I was the one that was giving. I was the one that was receiving. The floodgates were open. And I think about that one little capsule, that one bottle of Juice Plus equals being able to do this for your mom. I mean, how many would like to be able to do this for your mom? How many moms would like your son to do this for you? And, it's funny. We were at a big convention, and my brother Jonathan was there, and we were at this big conference. And there was thousands of people at the conference, and I was the closing speaker. And I told this story, and my mom was sitting in the front row, and I got to acknowledge her. You get an opportunity to acknowledge your mom, you take it, right? And after the meeting, she comes to me and she goes, Jeffrey, I wish you wouldn't share that story. You make us sound like we were so poor. And she goes, by the way, that car is over 10 years old now, and it's 2 wheels drive, and it's a little slippery in the snow. And she said, and don't forget, you only have one mother. And I said, well, thank God I can't afford two the way this is going. But needless to say, I bought her several cars, bought her a home in the mountains, got her a home down here in Florida, and it's been something just magical. And I think about saying no so I can say yes. Give you one other quick story, John. My grandmother, this was probably about 6 years ago, and she got really ill, and she was in her late 80s, early 90s, and they wanted to put her in one of those homes. And she didn't want to go. She wanted to stay in her home. Well, I was in Tel Aviv doing a meeting, and one of the young kids in the room raised his hand. He goes, well, Jeff, was it really worth you paying the price and sacrificing in your 20s and 30s and, and investing back into your business and saying no so you could say yes? And I said, well, let me tell you a story. When your mom calls you on the phone in tears, crying, telling you about your grandmother, and your mother doesn't know how to ask you this, that grandma would like to stay in her home and have private home health care, which was expensive. It was 6 figures. My mom said, I don't even know how to ask you this. And I said, Mom, stop. The answer is yes. Yes. And I did that for 6 years, 600, 700,000, whatever it was. It didn't matter. I was in the position to do it. I was in the position to say yes. And I was in Sydney, Australia 6 years later, sharing the same story. And I go back to my room and I check my messages, and my mom's in tears on the phone, leaving me a message and said, Jeffrey, your grandmother passed away tonight in her home. I was by her bedside holding her hand. And I can't tell you what it meant to her and to me. And thank you. And I told the guys in Sydney, or I told the guys in Tel Aviv and in Sydney, you tell me if it's worth it. I could tell you story after story, Boys and Girls Club, this story, that story. We don't have enough time, but that's the juice, guys. That's the stuff that touches my heart. That's why I love this business, because what you can do with the money when you have that abundance and you work hard, you know, if you're a giver, you become a bigger giver and you're able to do some of these things. So next question.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible, Jeff. Inspiring. And the comments are going crazy, by the way. So much love. So you've made a massive transformation in your health over these last 18 months. I mean, we were in Dubai together at a beach party, both with the zero alcohol wristbands on. we were rocking the zero alcohol wristbands. I don't think anyone could believe it, but we still had a great time. And I just want you to touch on, what is your day in the life now of Jeff Roberti? You know, you're still present in the business, but, you know, you message me sometimes and it's like, hey, John, I've just got up for the sunrise. I'm going to bike the beach. Can you just tell us what the lifestyle is from a day-to-day basis now for you?
Well, I mean, the lifestyle is incredible. And, you know, and a lot of people, John, which would kind of lead into not only the lifestyle, but why do I continue to stay in the business today? You know, why am I so passionate about the business today? I've got a great lifestyle. I've got some great rituals and habits now. I've really, you know, like we talked about, John, in Dubai, you know, gave up alcohol. I haven't touched it now for over 7 months, feel great, immersed myself into exercise. You know, I'm in the best shape of my life, you know, 30 years later with the Juice Plus company. Just, you know, walking the, you know, it's one thing to, you know, how you show up in life, right? What level are you going to play at, and holding yourself accountable and raising your standards. So, but, you know, my why today is so different than it was when I started. It's evolved. And I decided, especially in Dubai, John, when I was there with you, I decided to refire, not retire. Retire into your business, not from your business. And why is that? Because there's so much emotional and spiritual revenue. You know, I'll never forget where I came from, you know, and there's a saying, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure in life. How many people do we know that have success, but they're not happy because they don't have the fulfillment and the meaning and the purpose? Our business, if you think about our business, John, first of all, I love what I do and I get to add value to people's lives. And it's so rich in relationships. You know, a relationship is a place where you go to give, not to get. You're not measuring what you get in return. And, you know, it's just, there's something magical about these relationships. How about the love and connection that we have in our business? You know, where you get to love and care about other people and put their needs ahead of your own and add value to their lives. I mean, it's just, it's really priceless. And then you think about the growth, you know, the fact that the personal growth. I mean, really our business is a course in personal development, cleverly disguised as a business. You know, grow me, serve you. You know, the law of the universe, all things either grow or they die. You know, you either contribute or you're eliminated. You know, that growth, that being able to continually grow as a person, growth and progress equals happiness in my book. And then how about the contribution side of our business? Paying it forward, you know, going out there and, you know, the Bible says, find a way to serve the many, for service to the many leads to greatness. You've got a chance here to go out there and shine your light on people. I market hope. Sign here, win here. I believe in you. Let's do this together. And there's something magical, John, about believing in people and believing in them sometimes more than they believe in themselves in the beginning, and putting your time and your effort and your money into that person And then to see them a few years later walking the stage, and it's not the money, it's not the position, it's who they've become. And you played a small part in that. It's like the Visa commercial. It's priceless. I mean, there's nothing that compares to the amount of impact that you can have on somebody's health and their prosperity. I mean, I love the business. I love the contribution side of it, where I'm able to contribute and never forget where you came from and pay it forward.
Absolutely incredible, Jeff. Final question, because we said we wanted to keep it to 40 minutes. So you've seen a lot in the industry, but you've never seen a lockdown, all right? So what do you think this lockdown has done for our business, and why is the time now? Like, there's no time like the present. I keep saying to these guys, like, this is it, guys. This is your moment. So you said it to me on a call. This is the time for working out and working your business. Those two things.
That's so true, John. It is. I mean, it seems like those are my two big rituals, you know, my prayer, my meditation, my diet, my exercise. I mean, but just being immersed, fully engaged in your business. Talk about call to action, your marching orders. Seize the moment, a moment in time to strike while the iron's hot. I mean, fear of loss, sense of urgency, opportunity of a lifetime. I tell people you can compress a lifetime of work into a 3 to 5 year plan. And listen, one of the excuses you don't have tonight when you get off the call is to say that you've never been at the right place at the right time. You are at the right place at the right time, but it doesn't mean you're going to get the prize. You know, you've got to go to work. You got to step up. You got to want this thing. You got to put in that effort. You got to be consistent. You got to work your DMO. Let's go, guys. Come on, let's go. Don't take this opportunity for granted. It's your turn now. This is your chance to go out there and have greatness and to have abundance and to have this residual income and to have not only the money, but the time freedom and the quality of life that most people only dream of. Is it worth it? Yes, it's worth it. Go out and pay the price. Stay consistent. And the rewards and the abundance and what you can do with that is incredible. Listen, if you've been searching in life, I was praying, John. I was praying to God, please bring me something in my life. I had a great work ethic. I was a hard worker before the Juice Plus company showed up. But there was always a ceiling. I was always building someone else's dreams. I was always trading dollars for hours. And then all of a sudden, this opportunity to be your own boss, to earn what you're worth, and to build a business and have residual income showed up. God blessed me, and I was searching. If you're searching in life, you have found a home. Welcome to the Juice Plus company. Welcome to the company with a heart. And I will say this, John, in closing, I have to acknowledge you, my friend. The job you've done, the example you've set, I mean, you have shown people in the last 10 years what's possible today. And the movement you've started with Team Rhino and the other people that have branched off from that, the example that you've set to people and saying, okay, here's what's possible today with social media. Here's what's possible today with the Juice Plus product and the opportunity. John, you're a champion, man. My hat is off to you. I salute you, my friend, for being outstanding, for stepping up and showing people here's what's possible with Juice Plus today. And I truly believe the best is yet to come. The best years are ahead of us, not behind us. So thank you, John. Back to you.
Thank you, Jeff. Absolutely amazing. And thanks for the kind words. It's one team, one dream, and we all support and guide each other on this. So I just want to say a massive thank you to you for giving us your Friday afternoon, 40 minutes of absolute power. We didn't even need an hour. I mean, if you could just put that in a capsule, that would be amazing. I think, thankfully, I've recorded this. I'm going to have to watch this call every single day, and I advise you guys to do the same. I've done a lot of calls over the last 10 years, but this is right up there. This is one of the very, very best calls I've ever done. It's just been mind-blowing. I mean, I could ask you more questions and more questions and more questions, but we got to go and put some orders on. We got to go and do the work. So, yeah. Jeff, we will let you go. Guys, please give Jeff some love in the comments. absolutely outstanding, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank
Lots
you,
of love,
guys.
and we'll see you at the next convention, Jeff.
All right. God bless you.
Cheers.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys, that was just phenomenal. I mean, wow, what do we do now? It's unbelievable. We got 20 minutes left. Okay, so